Hello. Today General Hospital will at General Hospital, tensions are running high as multiple issues intertwine, creating an increasingly volatile situation. From power struggles to hidden secrets, the stakes have never been higher. One of the most pressing concerns for the fans is the ongoing absence of Kevin Collins, the husband of Laura Spencer. Kevin, often a steadying presence for Laura, is desperately needed during this tumultuous time, as Laura faces not only personal challenges but political ones as well. As the mayor of Port Charles, she's been dealing with the controversial Proposal C, which threatens her political career and could lead to her losing her mayoral seat. With everything falling apart around her, it's clear that Laura needs Kevin more than ever, yet his absence speaks volumes. Kevin has not been in touch for what seems like months, and this prolonged silence is causing growing unease among Laura's supporters, and the audience at home. The lack of communication from him, no phone calls, no texts, not even a simple email, has left Laura isolated at a time when she should have the support of her closest confidant. Laura, a strong woman in her own right, has always been able to weather storms, but the magnitude of what she's currently facing has left her vulnerable. She's caught in a whirlwind of scandal and controversy, and the absence of her husband during this crucial period has added another layer of uncertainty to an already unstable situation. As Laura struggles to maintain her position and reputation, she's found herself growing closer to Sonny Corinthos. While Sonny has always been a reliable ally in the past, their growing closeness is far from ideal in the present circumstances. Sonny is a man with a complicated past, often tangled in criminal activities and dangerous liaisons. Having him so involved in her life at a time when she needs to maintain a clean, untainted public image only raises questions. Despite his loyalty and their mutual respect, the optics of Laura's relationship with Sonny could easily backfire, especially now when she's under the microscope more than ever. The image of a mayor involved with someone as controversial as Sonny Corinthos could be damaging to Laura's political future. Her role as the face of Port Charles, meant to symbolize integrity and leadership, is now at risk of being overshadowed by her association with Sonny. Laura's political opponents, always looking for an edge, are sure to exploit this connection. The narrative of a mayor who relies on someone with a criminal past could tarnish her reputation, making it even more difficult for her to rally the support she needs to keep her position. With Kevin's absence, Laura is forced to navigate this turbulent time largely on her own. She finds herself in a precarious position, trying to balance her responsibilities to her city and her family while grappling with the looming loss of her political career. The public and private pressures she faces are immense, and without Kevin by her side, it's unclear who she can turn to for the emotional and moral support that has always been a cornerstone of her strength. In the meantime, Laura's growing dependence on Sonny becomes more pronounced. He may offer comfort and stability in a time of crisis, but the cost of that comfort could be high. For someone like Laura, who has always been admired for her grace under pressure, leaning on someone with Sonny's history could be perceived as a desperate measure. Her public image is becoming increasingly tied to Sonny, and this could prove to be her undoing, especially as the campaign for Proposal C gains momentum and the stakes grow ever higher. The absence of Kevin Collins is not just a personal loss for Laura. It is a political one. Without her husband's steady presence, Laura is forced to navigate the treacherous waters of politics and public perception with limited support. As the mayor's office and her personal life continue to unravel, Laura must confront the reality that she is not only fighting for her job but for her reputation and future. Her reliance on Sonny is a temporary solution, but it's clear that she can't continue down this path indefinitely. The question now is whether she can find a way to reconcile her personal and professional lives before it's too late, or if her ties to Sonny will ultimately be the thing that brings her down. As the chaos in Port Charles deepens, an unexpected event occurs that changes everything. Jason Morgan, a longtime ally and friend of Laura Spencer, finds himself in an intense encounter with Britt Westbourne. At first, it seems like a typical interaction between two people caught up in the web of complex problems that have been plaguing the city. Jason, always calm under pressure, is seeking answers to the mounting questions surrounding the people he cares about. However, as Britt shares a shocking revelation, the situation takes a drastic turn. Britt, often seen as enigmatic and unpredictable, drops a bombshell: Luke Spencer, Laura's husband, is still alive. This revelation is not just a surprise, but a game-changer for Jason, who has known Laura and her family for years. The news shatters his perception of the situation. Everything he thought he knew, everything he thought he could rely on, is suddenly called into question. It isn't just the idea that Luke could still be alive, it's the implications of this revelation that weigh heavily on Jason's mind. The details are even more troubling. Britt warns Jason that Luke's survival is not some random twist of fate or coincidence, but part of a much larger and more dangerous plan. She makes it clear that whatever is happening right now is merely a small piece of a much bigger puzzle, one that involves a series of machinations beyond what anyone, including Jason, could have anticipated. This is no longer just a matter of saving Laura's political career or dealing with the fallout from Proposal C. This is about something far darker and more dangerous, something that threatens the very foundation of their world. Britt insists that Jason must act quickly, urging him to leave and go into hiding before it's too late. She explains that the danger surrounding them is growing, and unless they take immediate action, they could all find themselves entangled in something that could destroy them. It's not just Laura who's in danger now. This conspiracy reaches far beyond her, touching everyone involved, even people like Jason who thought they were safe from the shadows lurking in the background. From that moment on, the stakes are raised higher than ever before. Jason, still reeling from the shock of Luke's supposed death being a lie, begins to understand the gravity of what Britt is saying. She speaks with urgency, her tone unmistakably serious. She reveals that the situation they are all facing is not just a political crisis or a personal betrayal, it's a carefully orchestrated plot, and they are all part of it, whether they realize it or not. Every move they make, every action they take, is being watched by unseen eyes, and the longer they stay in the dark, the more dangerous it becomes. Jason is torn. On one hand, he is skeptical. He's been lied to and deceived so many times that it's hard for him to believe in any more secrets or half-truths. On the other hand, there's a part of him that can't ignore the overwhelming sense of unease that has settled deep within him. He's learned to trust his instincts over the years, and right now, his instincts are telling him that something is terribly wrong. Despite his reservations, the warning in Britt's eyes is clear. This is no longer a situation where he can just sit back and observe. If he does nothing, the consequences could be dire, not just for Laura, but for everyone he cares about. Britt, ever the pragmatist, doesn't sugarcoat the reality of the situation. She stresses that their survival depends on their ability to act swiftly and decisively. She makes it clear that they are up against something much larger than anything they have ever encountered, a network of power, influence, and hidden agendas that spans far beyond Port Charles. This conspiracy, which has already claimed so much, will stop at nothing to achieve its goals, and Jason's involvement only makes him a bigger target. It's clear that they need to get ahead of this, or they'll be swallowed by it. As Jason grapples with the implications of Britt's words, he knows that there's no easy way out. He can't just walk away and pretend this isn't happening. The danger is real, and the more he learns, the more he understands that this isn't just about Laura's life or even Luke's survival, it's about something much darker, something that could destroy everything they've built. As Jason begins to process the enormity of the situation, he realizes that if he doesn't take action soon, he might lose everything: his friends, his allies, and possibly even his life. But Jason is not alone. Britt, who has always played a complex role in the lives of those around her, is now a reluctant ally, offering information but also warning of the risks they both face. Her motivations, always somewhat murky, are now clearer. She's in this as deeply as Jason is, and together, they must navigate the treacherous waters of a conspiracy that could tear their world apart. The fact that Luke Spencer is still alive is just the beginning, a catalyst that sets into motion a chain of events that will force everyone involved to confront their pasts, their loyalties, and the terrifying truth that they've been living in the dark for far too long. Jason's mind races as he weighs his options. Does he trust Britt's warning and flee, as she suggests? Or does he push forward, determined to uncover the full scope of the conspiracy before it consumes them all? One thing is certain, there is no going back. The clock is ticking, and the web of deception is tightening around them. The stakes are higher than they've ever been, and the real question now is whether Jason can survive long enough to uncover the truth and protect those he loves, or if he'll be swallowed whole by the dark forces conspiring against him. As tensions rise throughout Port Charles, the complex web of intrigue continues to tighten around its key players. The city, usually buzzing with the usual gossip and drama, has now become a battleground of shifting alliances and hidden motives. Maxie Jones, ever the central figure in the drama, finds herself thrust into another whirlwind of danger when she receives a cryptic, urgent message from Martin Gray. The message is terse, yet its meaning is clear. Something is happening, something that could shift the balance of power and unravel everything they thought they knew. Maxie, who has often found herself in the middle of troubling circumstances, realizes that this message is just the tip of the iceberg. She's no stranger to secrets and deception, but this feels different, more dangerous, more personal. Martin's call to action sends her on a mission to uncover what's really going on, knowing full well that this may be more than just another political scandal or business transaction. As Maxie delves deeper into the mystery, the stakes become higher than ever. Every clue she uncovers, every conversation she has, seems to lead to even more questions, as if someone is manipulating the very threads of her life and the lives of those around her. Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos, ever the powerful and elusive figure in Port Charles, is faced with a growing threat that seems to come from all sides. His criminal empire, once seemingly untouchable, is beginning to show signs of cracks. The enemies who lurk in the shadows are growing bolder, and Sonny, for all his power and influence, is not immune to the rising tides of danger. The situation escalates rapidly when Drew Kane, his ally and former friend, finds himself embroiled in a crisis that seems to have no easy resolution. Drew's life, and the lives of those around him, are threatened by forces they don't fully understand, and soon, it becomes clear that there's much more at play than just personal vendettas or business rivalries. These enemies are calculating, methodical, and ruthless in their pursuit of control, and they will stop at nothing to bring down anyone who stands in their way. As these events unfold, it becomes evident that these threats are interconnected, and they all lead back to the same group of shadowy figures who seem to be pulling the strings behind the scenes. There's a chilling sense of inevitability in the air. These forces will not rest until their plans come to fruition, no matter who gets caught in the crossfire. With every new development, the danger becomes more immediate, and the people of Port Charles find themselves facing a threat unlike anything they've encountered before. As the conspirators continue to work their hidden agenda, no one is safe, not even those who think they are immune. Britt Westbourne, ever the complex figure with her own set of secrets, is deeply aware of the danger she and everyone else is now facing. For all her manipulative tendencies and hidden motives, Britt understands that the stakes are higher now than ever before. She knows that the longer these secrets remain concealed, the more catastrophic the consequences will be. Britt is well versed in playing a dangerous game, but even she knows that the time for subtlety and secrecy is quickly running out. The walls are closing in, and the choices she makes now could determine the outcome of this entire situation. Despite her best efforts to protect herself and those she cares about, Britt cannot ignore the mounting danger. The people involved in this complex web of conspiracies are not mere adversaries, they are forces of destruction, and their reach extends far beyond what Britt initially believed. The events she's witnessed so far have given her a glimpse into the scope of the danger they're all facing, but even she is shocked by the depth of the conspiracy that has taken root in Port Charles. The secrets she's been harboring, the lies she's been telling, could be the very things that unravel everything, and if they are exposed too soon, the fallout could be devastating. Jason Morgan, who has always been a steady and reliable figure, finds himself in the midst of this escalating chaos. He is no stranger to danger, but the stakes now feel much higher than anything he has ever faced before. Britt's warnings weigh heavily on him. As he tries to process what she has shared with him, he realizes that he is caught in a much larger and more dangerous situation than he ever imagined. What started as a simple attempt to help his friends has now turned into a full-blown battle for survival. The forces at play are not just political, they are personal, deeply entrenched in the lives of everyone involved. Jason's every move is now being watched, and the enemies he faces are growing ever more ruthless. Britt's warning to Jason becomes clearer with each passing moment. They are all in danger. This is not just about fighting for power or protecting reputations, it's about survival. The hidden enemies pulling the strings are not content with simply making a few power plays, they want complete control, and they will stop at nothing to achieve it. As Jason grapples with this new reality, he knows that he can't afford to be passive any longer. Every decision, every action, could mean the difference between life and death, not just for him, but for everyone he cares about. The web of lies, secrets, and betrayal that has been woven around them all is threatening to collapse, and the only way out is to confront it head-on. The danger is not just external, it's internal as well. Jason, like everyone else, is beginning to question the loyalties of those around him. In a world full of deception, it's impossible to know who can be trusted. Even Britt, who has been a friend and ally to many, is now viewed with suspicion. Is she truly on their side, or is she playing a game of her own? As Jason and Britt navigate this treacherous landscape, they realize that their lives are no longer their own. They are pawns in a much larger game, one in which their every move is being calculated by unseen forces. The only way to survive is to stay one step ahead, an impossible task when the enemy is always watching, always waiting for the right moment to strike. Maxie, too, finds herself caught up in this ever-expanding web of intrigue. As she digs deeper into the mysterious message from Martin, she uncovers a trail of secrets that leads her to even darker truths. What she thought was a simple political issue or personal vendetta turns out to be something far more sinister. The more she uncovers, the more she realizes how interconnected everything is, and how dangerous it has become. Maxie's determination to uncover the truth puts her at odds with powerful forces, and as she gets closer to the heart of the conspiracy, she finds herself in even greater danger. The city of Port Charles, once a place where secrets could be kept hidden, is now a powder keg waiting to explode. With every revelation, the tension builds, and the danger becomes more imminent. Jason, Britt, Maxie, Sunny, and Drew must all navigate a world of shifting alliances, hidden agendas, and deadly betrayals. The stakes are higher than they have ever been, and no one can afford to make a mistake. In the end, it will come down to who can trust whom, and who will emerge unscathed when the dust finally settles. As the conspiracy unravels, the only certainty is that no one is safe. Secrets will be exposed, alliances will be tested, and lives will be forever changed. The question now is not whether they can survive, but who will remain standing in the end. Port Charles has never been more dangerous, and those caught in the web of deceit are about to learn just how far their enemies are willing to go. As the city of Port Charles slips deeper into chaos, Jason Morgan and Britt Westbourne are caught in a whirlwind of dark secrets, dangerous alliances, and unraveling mysteries. What seemed like isolated problems at first, personal struggles, political tensions, and financial disputes, have now converged into something far more sinister, with deadly consequences looming over the heads of everyone involved. The stakes are higher than ever before, and as Jason and Britt find themselves trapped in a web of deceit, they both know there is no simple solution to the complex puzzle they are facing. At the heart of the chaos is the shocking revelation that Luke Spencer, Laura's long-thought-dead husband, is actually alive. This bombshell rocks Jason to his core, as it throws everything he knew about the Spencer family and his own role in their lives into question. The very foundation of Laura's world has been shaken, and Jason, who has always seen himself as a protector of his friends and loved ones, is now grappling with a truth he never expected to hear. Luke's survival means there are even more unanswered questions about the past and the dangerous web of secrets that have been kept hidden for so long. The fact that Luke Spencer is alive raises more questions than it answers. Why has he stayed hidden for so long? What was his involvement in the conspiracy that has now engulfed Port Charles? And most importantly, what does his return mean for Laura, for her mayoral campaign, and for the safety of their friends and families? Jason, always a man of action, is not accustomed to sitting idly by when danger is looming. But this time, the risks are far greater than anything he has faced before. Britt, who has her own tangled history of deception and manipulation, warns him that confronting the truth may not be as simple as just confronting Luke. There are darker forces at play, and the longer they stay in the dark, the more Dongay